Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Home Staging Talk Show Live. I'm Jenny Norris, your host, and I'm also the chairwoman for the International Association of Home Staging Professionals, IHOSP. And I'm glad to be with you today. This is episode 97, which is really great. So I've got some announcements to share with you, updates and so forth before we get to our speakers, our guests, I should say. So excited to we have Tori Toth on the show today, and also Robyn Graham. And both of them are speakers at our 2020 IHOS virtual conference and expo. So, of course, that's happening next week. So those of you that have been thinking about getting a ticket, don't wait. You want to be able to get all the information on how to plan and prepare for the conference, and it is virtual, but it's not a talking head. It's not a Zoom call. It's not a bunch of people just showing PowerPoint slides and you don't get to see them. So we have done it in a way. Joseph Hecker's done an amazing job producing this event. And, if you know Joe, his mind is very creative. And so he, has done things with the segments that are much more interesting, interactive. For example, Hayden and Robyn have a joint session on photography. And Hayden first wanted to send in a PowerPoint. And Joe was like, no, why don't you go on site somewhere? So I actually went to a property and showed how he actually photographs the property. So you see him in action. And then he's explaining concepts and so forth. So it's like you're there on site with him in a property. That's just one example. So that's what we were going for, something very different that's interactive. Hey, Teresa, thanks for tuning in. So, you want to make sure that you are considering all of that. And I know it's really hard to sit and look at something on screen. However, that's not really any different than being in an audience and sitting and watching somebody on stage as far as sitting and having your time learning. So anyway, get your ticket. They're, reduced fee, of course, because it is virtual. And all of our speakers, we have 30 speakers that are eager to share with you. So you'll get a ton of information from the conference. So you can go to IHOSP Virtual Conference, conexpo.com. So I'll type it in here, IHOSP Virtual conexpo.com. That's the site. And it has all the information on how to register and everything else. So we're really excited. So they'll be next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday, of course, we have our awards. So we have our Staging Industry Awards. And I did not grab the logo for that one. I meant to. So Staging Industry Awards are happening right now. People are voting. And these are for the categories for top individual stager, rising star, top small team, top large team, Trailblazer Award, and Bar for Staging Excellence Award, the IHOS Spirit Award, and also best, the top chapter of the year. So those are being voted on right now, and you can find that on social media on the IHOSP pages, a group and page, also on the Home Staging Professionals group. So we posted it in several locations on my personal profile as well. There's a link that'll take you to where you can vote, and you have to vote through Facebook or Gmail profile so we can screen the votes to make sure that we don't have a ton of duplicates. But anyhow, and then the individual awards for best vacant, best occupied, and luxury and regular and small square footage. Those are being evaluated separately. They will not be voted on publicly. And all award winners will be announced on October 1st, which is Thursday afternoon after our designation. So our conference has the new designation we're offering, which is the IHOSP CDE. Oh, I did bring it up here. So I did more than I thought. So the Staging Industry Awards. Yay. So those are, congratulations to all of the nominees. So there's a list that went out for that. So again, go vote. We have until Friday. This Friday is the cutoff, and no more votes will be accepted. And so the Thursday, the designation will be taught, so the IHOSP CDE, and we have Robbie who's teaching. He's our keynote speaker for that day. His session's really, really good. I've watched a portion of it, and very interesting. And we're in his home. He's showing different footage, and so it's really insightful and interesting. And then we have Kevin Tain, Deepti Nayar, Orlando Reyes, and Deborah Plowden, who will be sharing as well. So that's part of our cultural diversity expert designation, which is very timely and important that we understand how to interact with different cultures and then, just learn from their perspective, maybe some of the things that they deal with that we don't. So, and just to kind of get a general overview of how things have changed in the last 6 months, let's say. So It's going to be a really, really good session. And of course, we're the only association that gives you credentials at our conference. It's your getaway with a takeaway, and it would be a getaway if you were we were actually together. So, but it is a takeaway. So you actually get new credentials to help qualify you with your clients. And again, it's going to be a differentiating factor for you to be able to say that you have these credentials. So that will be done on Thursday, and then again, the awards will follow directly after that, their Q&A session. So we're excited for that. Worldwide Staging Service Week has been going on. It was started September 12th to the 19th is the official week that we run these projects. But I do know the chapters are, sometimes that doesn't exactly work for the entity that's benefiting from the efforts of the chapter individuals who are running Worldwide Staging Service Week projects. And so those are happening now and into the future. And so I just want to say thank you to all of the chapters and leaders and members around the world who are participating and making life better for somebody else, another group, an individual, an entity, because it's great to be able to give back and do an act of service for somebody else. And that really kind of helps put life in perspective as well, because something that I've learned, my husband used to say, he still does, but there's always somebody who's less fortunate and somebody who's more fortunate than you are in your life. There's somebody that has it, better or worse. And so being able to take a look and help somebody who might be less fortunate puts your life in perspective, and you realize that you do have a lot to be grateful for. So I love our Worldwide Staging Service Week. This is I believe our 15th year doing it as an association, and many, many wonderful projects come out of it, and just the transformation and the impact that people make in someone else's life is just really, really important. So thank you for everybody doing that. I do have an announcement. We do have a new designation we have come up with, and this is being taught by June Carter to the Senior Staging Specialist. And so she will be teaching this live on October 26th. I believe that's a Monday. So she'll teach this webinar live, and you can earn new credentials, the SSS Senior Staging Specialist, and learn how to work with that niche market, because working with mature adults or the seniors, it's very different than somebody who might be a millennial or a Gen X. And so there's certain things we have to consider, and then additional ways to make money just beyond staging a house for sale. So again, October 26th, you can write that down. We'll be sending out some marketing promotional information on that, of course. And you can earn a new industry designation and focus on being able to understand that niche service better and serve your clients better. So thank you to June for developing that. And I just want to remind people that, of course, if you want to learn about short-term rental staging, Amy Powers has a really great course on that, the STRS designation. You can register for that. That is taught in a webinar mode. So it was a recorded webinar. So you can take it at your leisure. It's about 1.5 to 2 hours long. And then there's additional handouts and support information that you'll receive from taking the class and earning your credentials. And so again, that's a niche service that has nothing to do with selling a property. And so one of the things we have learned coming out of the virus situation, we can't predict the future. We hope for the best, plan for the best, but you also have to plan for the worst too, and think about, like, what if they shut everything down again, and how are you going to make money? So you have to have things that you do in your business that are outside of resale. So the short-term rental specialist, the STRS, is one of those. Also, color consultations. Joanne Leonard Weary has a course on that. Home makeovers and redesign. Joanne and Sandra Reyes have a course on that. And so you can find all of that information on the IHOSP site under education. There's a whole list of additional credentials you can earn to differentiate yourself in your market. And my 2 talks at the conference, actually there's 3, but 2 of them focus on pricing and value and mindset. And so many people don't understand how to price their services. They don't have the right mindset of understanding their value. They drop their prices. They're not communicating to their clients their additional value and differentiating factors of why they should be hired, but also why they're worth what they're charging. So that's the goal of these 2 different talks, and understanding mindset. And we talk about how to gain confidence in your pricing as well. So I'm excited for you guys to see those sessions. And anybody who registers for the conference, all of the sessions will be made available to you. So Monday, of course, there's not Monday. The first day, Tuesday, 29th, is general session. So everybody gets to see everybody. So we have our keynote speaker, Chris Widener, will be talking on the art of influence and being a leader. And so Tuesday is really all about mindset. So mindset strategies for pricing, mindset strategies for growing your business, marketing and branding. We have Joanne Leonard Weary and Sandra Reyes will be talking on trends for the industry and also for running a business. So they kind of cross over into business. And I love their topic. It's a stiletto approach to trends with a work boot mindset. And had we been live, I would have been like, who's wearing the stilettos and who's wearing the work boots on stage? But that's going to be a great topic. So we have a lot of really great speakers that day, and you don't want to miss that. And then the second day on Wednesday is we kick off with Johnny Fowler, who's our marketing keynote speaker. He has a 2-hour session because he has so much to share, and he's really going to go deep into what we need to know in order to outsmart some of the algorithms online, but also be really effective with our social media marketing. And he's one of the only people I know that talks faster than I do at some point. And so you're going to get a lot of information is what I'm sharing. And then following that will be the breakout sessions. And we have wonderful topics for breakout sessions. Tori Toth, who's with me, she has a topic, marketing and video and branding yourself. That's kind of her specialty. So I see Robyn, you're here, so just stay in the thing and I'll bring you on when I'm done with the announcements. I'm glad you made it in. And so we had just a lot planned. And again, the third day, October, will be the designation and the awards. So you'll be able to see that. So with that, I thought I would play this little teaser. Oops. I'll do this. Okay, here we go.
Okay, hey, it's Jenny Norris coming to you from Denver, Colorado. Hey, join me September 29th, 30th, and October 1st for IHOS Virtual Conference and Expo, where I'll be sharing on pricing and mindset strategy. I know 2020 got weird. We're still staging, though, and I know you're still staging, so we still need to learn and grow and also connect. So go get your ticket. Right now, go to ihosvirtualconexpo.com and register today.
So that's one of the teasers that Joe did. And let me do, Tori, you did a nice teaser. So I'm going to play hers in here. So show and stream. This, a little. Okay, here's Tori's.
Hey, Tori Toth here. Join me September 29th through October 1st for the 2020 International Association of Home Staging Professionals Virtual Conference and Expo, where I'll be talking about how to create your customer journey to build visibility and acquire more qualified leads that will ultimately grow your business. 2020 may have gotten a bit weird, but home stagers are still working. It's not too late to go register, so what are you waiting for? Go register now, and I'll see you there.
I love that. That's really cute. I love how he turned you upside down. Or I don't know if you did that, Tori, but it's a cute effect. All right, so I'll go ahead and bring you guys on. So it's going to count down for you. Okay, so you guys are in. So I thought it would count down be longer. Good morning or good afternoon.
Good morning. Hello.
Hello, hello. So I have Tori in the middle, and then Robyn Graham is on the right. And so I thought it'd be fun just to kind of have a chat with the three of us versus just one at a time. So Tori, why don't you go ahead and start and share a little bit about your background for people who don't know who you are. Let us know what you do and where you live and all that good stuff.
Right. So I'm from the New York City area, and I opened up my home staging business in 2009 called Stylish Stagers, Inc. Prior to that, I was a TV reporter, and I know, as many of you, I faced a lot of challenges in my home staging business early on. in getting the message out there and showing the value, and just kind of the education overall on what home staging in our industry provides to the real estate market. So I took to my background and started doing videos in my business, teaching people how home staging works and how my specific company works. And I did a lot of how-to videos, and I started putting those up on YouTube back in 2010. And now there's close to 2 million views on that channel, over 12,000 subscribers. And I've actually rebranded that channel, and I'm bringing it back to the home staging industry. So highlighting other real estate agents just to kind of get the education out there. So home staging becomes a real estate standard. I think that's what I believe in ultimately. And so it's helping home stagers get more visible, but then I also have a home staging component still. I don't do real life stagings like all of you guys out there, but I have an online home staging video course that teaches the seller how to stage their own properties. And it's geared more towards the DIY owner occupied segments of the industry.
That's awesome. So back in 2010, people really weren't using video very much. It was, people were really scared of it and they didn't know what to do.
And it was so hard. I mean, it wasn't as easy as just pressing a button, you know. We didn't even have iPhones back then, right? So and the technology has definitely grown leaps and bounds and has made it more easy for people to press record.
Absolutely. So that's really exciting. So we'll come back and chat on that. So Robyn, give us your background, where you live, and Tori, tell people, sorry, where are you from right now?
I am in Arizona at the moment. Okay. Yes.
She just moved there, so I just wanted to give you, she's in the Scottsdale area. Okay, so then Robyn Graham, let us know who you are, your background, and where you live.
I live in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is just outside of Philadelphia. I am a brand marketing strategist, personal branding coach. I have a podcast, the Second Phase podcast, and I am a headshot and branding photographer. So I help female entrepreneurs find absolute clarity, confidence, and connection through their brand messaging so that they can attract more clients.
That's awesome. So you're Bucks County, so that's, how far is that to Philly?
It's like 27 miles, but it takes about an hour to get in.
Traffic. Yeah, well, good. Well, I'm glad to have you both on, and you're both sharing sessions. You guys are both doing breakout sessions on the 30th. People can catch your segments there, and they can also learn, even if they're not able to watch it while it airs, while it streams live, they can watch it afterwards. And so both of you are very knowledgeable in your field. So Tori, let's talk about why video is so important, and then we'll kind of branch it into branding. And then I know that Robyn, you're also doing the photography element, right? Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen your session, so I didn't get to see a teaser. You didn't do a teaser, but
oh, I did.
Oh, you did?
I did. Yeah, I sent it to Joseph.
Okay, I'll have to find it because they're all on the G drive, and I thought I downloaded everybody. So I'll find it and try to play it for next time, or I'll make sure to post it because I've been posting all those in social media. So I'll go look for yours too. So why is video so important? Because you know, I mean, I kind of know the answer to the question, but just when people are watching, how have things transformed from just having people write something on Facebook or social media to then, you know, picture, to why is it so important?
Well, I think video is important. That's because generally that's the way we're all consuming information right now. We all have limited time. I think reading something to the younger generation seems like so much more work than just pressing record and hearing what somebody has to say. And I love using video in my business because I don't use it as a marketing tool. Yes, it does help market my brand and my company, but I use it as a sales tool. It's out there. It's working for me. It's showing products that I market. It's showing my philosophy, my mission, my how-to. So I really use it more as a sales tool out there, getting people to know, like, and trust me. And then they come to my website or they come to a social media platform and get to learn more about me. And I think that's the way that you have to start looking at it. It's almost your sales force, not your marketing. It's not just like some marketing tool that you do a one-off on. You have to be consistent with the process. And I would just say stick to kind of one platform, get familiar with that, start doing it on there, build up consistency, kind of like what you've done here, Jenny, with this Facebook Live show. I mean, how long have you been doing it now? 97 episodes? That's crazy. But
yeah, and then what is your favorite platform for video? What do you prefer?
I bounce back and forth from YouTube to Facebook, but here's why I'm saying YouTube. And a lot of people are like, oh, building a channel on YouTube, it sounds like such a mission. But it's the second largest search engine behind Google, and your stuff gets searched over and over and over again if you are popping up in those keywords. Facebook doesn't have that. People can't search for your videos on Facebook. They have to kind of know who you are first. And with YouTube, people can just discover who you are and then start binge watching you.
So, so I streamed the last two shows live on YouTube, and I didn't do that today because I did it through my person. Because now Be Live allows you to stream to 2 different locations. So today we're doing it through the Home Staging Talk page and also my personal profile, because on YouTube the only people who commented were these naked ladies who were writing all this like weird stuff. So I had to block everybody, and I didn't know what was happening until I went in and I was uploading the video. I'm like, wait a second. I got like 18 comments. I go, oh, that's really cool. So I go look, and it was all these like pornographic poses, and I'm like, oh my god. So I had to delete all that. So I'll have to learn how to prevent that. Because I maybe just turn off commenting. It's probably the way to go. To YouTube, like I think of people like that, I'm thinking like, why do these people even exist? It's just that's their whole. Isn't that just weird?
Weird. I mean, they just like to troll sites and sometimes just be haters because they have nothing better to do. I mean, if they got behind a mission and started doing this themselves in the positive, I think it would benefit them too.
And so Robyn, let's talk about with branding. You talk about headshots, for example. So do you provide those? Obviously people have to be on site to do a headshot with you, or do you travel to do headshots? Tell me how that facet of your business works.
I do have a studio and I do local on location work, but I do also travel as well. Travel for mostly branding shoots versus headshot sessions, just because of the depth and the cost. It's not really justifiable for someone to pay for my travel to someplace just for a headshot. But for branding shoots, yes, there's so much value there that it makes sense. So I do both. As far as what I recommend for anyone who has a business of their own, any entrepreneur, number one, you must have a professional headshot. And that headshot should be on the front page, the home page of your website, as well as the about page. So have maybe 2 different options so that you are front and center on your website, so people can immediately get to know who you are and start building and creating that emotional connection with you. And then as far as carrying that over, that same picture should be your profile picture on your social media platforms, because that just builds that cohesive feel, the consistency, so people can really get to know who you are so that they can start to trust you. And then for branding, I recommend branding photos because in addition to video, pictures are the fastest way for people to get to know who you are. We live in such a visual society and such a fast-paced society that we really only have about 3 seconds to stop the scroll on a social media platform. So it's really important for you to be there, show who you are so that people can get to know you. Otherwise, they're not going to just read content. They want to see pictures. And I always say, like on Instagram, you should be present at least once in every 9 set of squares on your Instagram feed so that people can constantly have a reminder of who you are and get to know a little bit more about you. People buy personalities, they hire personalities, they don't just hire a product or service or buy a product or service. So it's really important that your presence is first and foremost, front and center for people to be able to connect with you and get to know you.
Because I get irritated when I go to websites and I don't know who's behind it. I don't know the person. I can't discover who they are. Even the about section, they don't even give a name. So I'm like, really? And I know that if you have a company and you're thinking like, you're branding the company name, it's not like Jenny Norris Staging Company, so it's the company name. At some point, maybe you want to sell it. So at that point, do you stop being maybe these people are thinking like, I won't make it all about me because then it's all really more about the brand and the company, so they don't want to put themselves out there. But I get irritated when I can't figure out who's on a website. It's and I like the style of the photos. So let's talk about with the video too. you know, I don't know what's going to go on with TikTok. I was just going to have one of my team members start doing that, but at this point, I think I'm not going to, you know, why bother, because it looks like it's going away. And I didn't really understand, you know, TikTok, you can do boomerang is almost similar kind of a feel, but for branding purposes, for little video shorts, like let's say somebody's on a staging project, Tori, what would you recommend? You know, what are some just little tips to give people if they're on site? And I know why people don't film themselves, because we don't, you know, my hair doesn't look like this when I'm staging. I might have lipstick on, but you know, if we're sweating, it's not glamorama. And I'm like, I don't want, you know, all these people to see me looking haggardly. But the fact is that they're really not focused as much on you as much as what you're showing them or doing. So I think people have to get over the fear of feeling unattractive in the video. That's the reason why people don't do it. And they also hate how they sound. But what are some tips you could give about, you know, if you're on a staging, what are some a couple interesting tips that people could film?
Well, I think first of all, I mean, what I used to do is film all my own stuff, and usually that's kind of how you do it if you're on a shoestring budget. I would just take a camera that I had and I would put it in the corner of the room, and I would just stage it and then speed up the staging in an editing platform. But I really think if you guys are out on staging, you should really use the stories tools in either Facebook or Instagram and show the behind the scenes. You don't necessarily have to be in front of the camera. However, you know, sometimes showing up on not made up shows that you actually work, right? And that you know, this does take some blood, sweat, and tears. And, you know, showing people that it's not just magic to could be beneficial to your business. But showing the behind the scenes, you know, why you set up the room this way, a problem room, you know, something that can be beneficial to the person watching it, or just kind of showing, you know, I don't know, like how you transformed the space in such a short amount of time, or how you pack your car. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do, and you can seriously have 1 or 2 stories up every day about your business, and then you can save those stories in a highlight reel in Instagram, or just to your library on your iPhone, and you can use those stories in other places too. Like I mentioned, you can flip them from Instagram to Facebook, you can put them on blog posts. So there's a lot of other things that you can do with these stories, just besides having them up for 24 hours. Because a lot of people are like, well, why am I going to use this tool if it's not, you know, if it's not going to be out there? But Facebook and Instagram, they do boost you up when you are using that tool in their platforms.
That's good to know. So the stories, I know like the videos have to be, for Facebook, they're shorter on the story than on Instagram. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's 20 seconds on Facebook, and then Instagram now has it loops around a couple of times, so I think it goes up to a minute over there. And then using IGTV too is another good tool. If you are finding business on Instagram, then stay on that platform and really start using the tools that are on that platform that are going to get you seen in a wider audience.
I think it's really cool that our cell phones can be, you know, used in so many ways. I mean, they're not only do we communicate with our clients, but the cameras are so great. They're not like a professional camera. So I'm sure, Robyn, you have much better cameras and so forth, but they really keep enhancing and advancing the different, you know, filters and ways you can take pictures with your phone. And then of course video, you can get like a little stand that has a little bendy legs, a little tripod, a mini one, and you can have that set up somewhere. And Joseph, you know, when he came out and filmed, I copied his, replicated. Yeah, there you go. Those are inexpensive, you know, $10 or less. You can find them. And you can just set that thing up and then record yourself, prop it up somewhere. You don't even know the camera's there, or you could walk around with it and do a narrative. And I think when I've taught our master's class, I do force people into doing live video. We do a live session and they have to say something. And the number of people that are so nervous about going on camera. And you know, the first time I did the show, I had the camera was like way down low, so it was like kind of that kind of perspective. I'm like, okay, that's a horrible angle. I had to elevate that. So then I got like a little tripod thing, and my camera like was flying out twice because it was the spring loaded thing. I just, you know, and I was live, and you just have to go with it. And so you know, you kind of live and learn. And I don't even care anymore. I mean, like, you know, it's I'm so used to doing it, but the first few times you think like, are people going to judge me? And, you know, I know hopefully you ladies agree with this too, but more people are more worried about or concerned about themselves than thinking about other people, like how my hair looks versus their, you know what I'm saying? So we're so self-critical, and we need to get over that. And with the photos, so Robyn, talk about the photos. So it's not just, I think the headshots where people are like on their phone, or they have something where it's just kind of cheesy. Those are, those are not good brand photos necessarily. But what, you know, when you're talking about with staging, some people just take it up against a blank wall, or they have these photos that just are not, they don't look professional. And so let's talk about why that professional background, why the professional photo, and that photos in general are important. And then you mentioned the style pictures too, you know, taking pictures not just of themselves, but also some of their work, like close-ups of a vignette and different perspectives of, you know, how people give us a couple tips on how to get some really good shots with their cell phones.
So first I would say, actually, the pictures of anyone who owns a business on their phone are not cheesy, because that is real life, and that's something that they are doing every single day, and that's their tool for communicating with their audience. So I would disagree with that one, because I think it is valuable, because we want to show every side of you, and people want to know how you do your business, how you run your business, the things you do inside your business, where you work, how you work, all of those things. So as far as like photographing on site when you're doing a job, it's not dissimilar to what Tori was saying. But when you're creating little vignettes, capture those, because you can always tell a story about those. And again, those are really good content for stories on Instagram and Facebook. And you can even share, you know, little vignettes and the story behind the vignette and how you created it, why you created it, where you purchased the items in the vignette. You can even share that kind of thing on LinkedIn. And Pinterest is another platform that is incredible for doing that, because like YouTube, it's also a search engine. And so you can help drive traffic to your website as you use the pictures for those types of purposes. You have your whole room that you can shoot, you know, if you're doing a whole room, and then you can break that down into the vignettes within the room. I think it's fun to capture someone, you know, as home stagers, you carry a lot with you. So, you know, you may be bringing in rugs, you may be bringing in tables, chairs, whatever. Having pictures of you in action doing those things, from, you know, the photographer in the doorway and you're coming up the walkway with these items, I think those are fun pictures to have, because it gives people a sense of the fact that you're strong, you're dependable, you're going to get the job done no matter what it takes, and it kind of relays those messages through the visual content. As far as lighting goes, so that you can take good pictures, you mentioned the little tripod. I would strongly recommend having a tripod and putting your phone on a charge, the timer setting when you're taking pictures, especially if you're going to be in them. If you're doing it yourself, even having the tripod on the table and setting it up that way helps, because then you don't have any motion blur and things are just more clear and they're more crisp and sharp versus having any blur in them. A ring light is also a powerful tool. You can buy on Amazon even like lights on stands that have a softbox, and those would be great to take with you as well in a room that isn't well lit, just to add a little pop of light. You can use window light, natural lighting, which is awesome. But the problem that you run into is if you're shooting and the light is behind the object or the person that you're shooting, it's going to be blown out, and you're going to be underexposed, or your content that you're shooting, your subject, is going to be underexposed. So you want to add a little more light onto that, and that's where those lights would come in handy, because then you're lighting from the front and lighting from the back, and that makes a big difference. Lighting is the key to really showcase your work, because if it's dark and underexposed or even overexposed, you're going to lose the quality of what you've created.
I think it'd be great for you guys to do some sort of a tutorial video on the tools, because I have the light rings. I've got the baby light ring. I've got the big one that has the regular filter and the pink filter. I mean, these are all in, they're not still in the original boxes. I did unbox it, but when I had that big one, I was so white with the fluorescent light. It was just way too harsh. Mm-hmm. I haven't used it. And then I have the tripod. I just got this thing that extends up, and I can actually put a 35mm camera on it to do different types of things. So, I mean, I've invested in a lot of equipment, but I don't necessarily know how to use it. And someone might watch a YouTube video to try to learn, but I think, that would be something to be very valuable. Maybe we have like a course or something that we developed to teach. I mean, you may already have things, but I think it would be good for our association to provide this to our members, because people don't know what they're not told. And if they're just using their cell phone, the cell phone, it has a lot of capability, but the lighting and if you're trying to get more of a little bit of a professional look for your video, for consistency and so forth, I think some of these tools are very helpful. So those people that are watching, if that sounds like something that would be interesting, I know I could benefit from it. Like, I could show you guys all the tools I have, and I'm like, okay, now what do I do? I even got a green screen. I can't get the green screen back in it was like a circle, this thing that you unzip. And so we had to use it for filming last week, and I can't get that damn thing folded back into a circle. So that's just propped up in my office. Oh, and I'm like, and I got that because eLive does not have a green screen capability. So like Zoom, you can actually change the background. eLive, you can't do that. And they have a couple of, apps that I bought that are stupid. They're, they have the fake backgrounds, but then I'm like all pixelated on my head. And so, but I don't really even know how to utilize a green screen. Why is it green? Why did they not pick red? I mean, these are questions that inquiring minds want to know.
As you were talking, Jenny, I thought of something too. If you want to create more, if all you have is a cell phone or a smartphone, if you want to create a more professional look and feel, and you can't hire a professional photographer, use the portrait mode on your phone, because that'll at least blur out the background and it'll decrease the distractions within the frame. And the same thing, if you can't hire someone to do a professional headshot for you, I actually have a smartphone photography for business ebook on my website that people can download for free, but it has a plethora of tools and it lists like different tools that you can purchase to help you out. But it also talks about how to use your smartphone for the purpose of creating images that look more professional, so that if you are on a budget and you can't afford to have a professional photographer follow you around every day, then it's a great way to be able to use that tool more effectively.
And then so iPhone has the portrait mode, so Android has live focus, and I forget about that setting on my phone, because my husband didn't want to support the man, so we have Android versus Apple. So our whole family. Well, my daughter has iPhone, and one of my sons and my niece. But it does a good job. The Samsung, we just got the Samsung 20. So our in the Android world, it's usually live focus is the same thing as portrait mode for the iPhone. But you're right, it does do a really good job. Mm-hmm. And with video and photography, if you don't like it, you can always delete the pictures. But to not even capture anything, I think is it's a mistake. And so, and I already have Barb Privet saying yes, they would like us to develop something. So I'm sure. So Tori, I know you have a lot of classes you've developed, right? You have things that are?
I do have a video visibility course. So it teaches you how to use video in your business, kind of from start to finish, shooting hacks, editing hacks, building up your content library, as well as learning YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for video. I'm pondering the fact of bringing in LinkedIn and maybe TikTok, but everything keeps updating all the time, so that's like the problem too. So I want to be able to give you the latest, greatest information with that. We also have a MailChimp course. So if you don't do email marketing in your business, that's another great place to start. And Canva as well. We have. I also do a smartphone video workshop as well too. Yeah.
Because I think a workshop where it has people, it's almost like the dummies guide to doing video and photography, being able to show people what you can do with your cell phones, but also basic equipment where there's that little tripod or one that extends up, and then the light ring. I have the light ring.
I would also consider the Lumi case.
Obviously, I don't know. I'm not.
So the Lumi case this allows you to light from the front and the back, and it just stays on my phone.
Very cool. So I didn't know that even existed. So those kind of things, I think it would be really cool to have something that we teach, and paid. People have to pay for it because there's no value in free. And I made a big deal about that at my pricing things. There's no value in free. And people should at least use the word complimentary. Please stop using the word free. because then it really, what it does is it devalues what we bring to the table, and then people who get it for free will always want it for free. They don't have to pay for it. And I use the example of one of my former brother-in-laws ran a thrift store, and he would throw something out that he wanted to get rid of, and he put free on it, and nobody would pick it up. Nobody would take it. But if you put 10 cents on it, somebody would buy it. I mean, it's just assigning some sort of value. So when we say complimentary, the value should be $125 or $200 for this education. However, it's complimentary. So that's why I'm really passionate about that. Get rid of that free word, because it's just we don't want the public thinking that they can get what we do for free. So I would love to work on that and develop that for video and also for the photography. I think that would be really, really beneficial. So we'll talk about that for after conference. And because I'm no expert on that. I don't want to learn all that stuff. I do want to learn it so I can use it for my business, but I don't want to become like the expert in it. So we have people like you that are the experts in what you do, and we can learn from you. So I'm all about, adding education for our members and finding a way then to also, provide some benefit and income to the experts. So I think that's really helpful. Let's talk about what the vignette, the photography. So I've done, Sandra Holmes is one that she does a really good job of like getting down and getting perspectives of staging, like you talked about the vignettes, Robyn. So like if you have a centerpiece on a table or something really cool, shooting it from down low and then looking kind of through the items, you get this really interesting impact versus just shooting a room. And so stagers need to think about, not only do we want to show the transformation before and after, when you get close-ups of items, it could be, candlesticks with an orchid or something that you did that's interesting in the room. You can use those in your marketing. They could be these images on your site or in your brochures. And so let's talk about perspective. Why is it so? People, I think, forget to go down lower. No, that's not an attractive angle for a person, most likely, but for things, I think even shooting through like bar stool legs or is that something that you do?
Well, it depends on the subject and the look that you're going for. I mean, perspective it can, vary dramatically depending on what you're shooting and what you're trying to create. If you're trying to make something look bigger, then you may shoot from down below and you may use a wider angle lens. If you're wanting to capture, you can capture things from above. And if you're trying to capture a centerpiece on a table and you want to capture like the entire thing and it goes along with a table runner or something like that, then you may want to shoot from above. It really just depends on the height of the subject. It depends on the location, what's behind it. Like if maybe you have plants or something around the room and you're trying to avoid having that be behind the subject, then you could go above it or below it so that you can get rid of whatever is distracting. But that all depends on, what is in the room and what you're trying to accomplish with that angle. Now, you could use different tools like doorways and things to kind of frame the picture. So you have like a frame within a frame, and that'll help draw the eyes to whatever it is whatever your subject is. It's almost like a leading line type of thought, but yeah. So it really depends on what it is you're trying to shoot. Are you trying to make something look bigger and more grand? Are you trying to maybe minimize it so that it's not such a focal point, but yet it's really nice? It depends on how much space you have in the room as well, in terms of, do you have an option to make this part of a complete room, but yet the focal point of the room, or do you want it to be just completely independent of the room as an entirety? It makes sense or answered your question.
It does, yeah, because I think that, and I, even like when people we staged this new construction house, and one of the most beautiful things about it is we were up on the upper floor was looking down the stairs. Because the way they had built the stairs, it was this kind of, not a spiral, but it was almost kind of, a little bit more angular. It was a really cool shot, and then those things could be used for in a brochure or in a background. I know in the beginning when I didn't have pictures like that, I found things online that were, I could use, but they weren't my work. And so it could even be, anyway, I just think a tip is to try different angles when you're staging, because again, you can always delete the pictures if you don't like them. Right?
I would also say too, use exactly what Robyn said when you are shooting video. Think about the different angles you can be creating to make it more intimate and make it feel like the person watching is in that room with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you need to, like, if you create like a vignette on a small table or something, and you don't have a plain wall, like the wall is a funky color and the client isn't willing to paint it, or there's wallpaper that is, busy, you can always put that in front of a window. And if the window has shears, you can close the shears and that becomes like a white backdrop, as long as you have light on the subject, and some sort of light coming at. If you don't have a ring light or an ice light or a portable light, you could use a lamp. Just make sure that the light bulb is a white light bulb, not like a tungsten or fluorescent light, because then that's going to skew the color of the subject that you're shooting. But that's a great way to get like a plain backdrop if you want. And you can also just, if you have space in your car, carry around white mat board. You can buy pieces of white mat board from Staples or Office Max or someplace like that. And that can be just a great, easy tool, inexpensive thing to have behind your subject so that it's all white or black, whatever it is you want, as just a cheap tool. And then that can also be used to bounce light back onto your subject from the window behind the subject.
And I think, people that are watching now and in the future, and also please share this out with your followers because it helps us get a better reach. We reach more people. I really feel like the future of what we do, you can't be successful or you'll have a harder time being successful when you don't incorporate video and professional marketing, branding, photography.
Mm-hmm.
The expectation of our clients, they become more sophisticated, and I still see the crappy photos on MLS of pictures that the realtors just use their cell phone, take a picture. I'm like, are you kidding me? We just bought a house, and some of the pictures, it was, first of all, if there's no pictures, that you think like that house is just a dog. Nobody was even worth photographing. And the expectation of the consumer, because it is more available in our hands and so forth, is that, there's no reason not to do more of it. And I feel like from a branding perspective, it really will elevate your company to a different level than someone who's not willing to invest the time in it. And so I really see that it's definitely necessary moving forward, and especially today where we're not necessarily able to interact with each other, and people are relying much, much more on the visual in order to evaluate properties to see if they even want to purchase versus being able to go. There's no open houses, what I'm saying? So there's some limitations because of COVID that we're not able to do what we used to do. So I think what you both offer is it's just going to go a way up, as far as the need. Tell me, what is your favorite thing about what you do? What do you like best about what you do, Tori?
I like education, right? So I like learning new things just for myself, but then I like also packaging them into these little stories so other people get to learn them. And so whether that's like written form and blogging or with video, I just like to be able to be that person in the middle sharing the information.
And you're very good at it too, so that's a good answer. And how about you, Robyn? What do you love about what you do?
I love seeing brands come to life and businesses blossom. And one of my most favorite things is when I'm working, especially with women, and I see them relax and their confidence come out. And then because when they start having more confidence and believing in themselves, they trust themselves more, and then other people are going to have confidence and trust in them and their work as well. So I love drawing that out of people and seeing them really come to life in their own light.
Yeah, because and it's funny because in a picture you can tell, and I've taken pictures like this too, where if you're really feeling what you want to portray, that really comes across in your face, versus if you're just not into it, that when the look in the eyes and just the smile or the face, you can really tell the difference if they're stiff or if they're relaxed, they're really enjoying it. It makes a big difference. Hey, let's talk about what is one of the biggest challenges you face with a client or a situation in your tenure in your business?
For me, I would say the fact that people do expect so much for free. And I give a lot of complimentary information. I mean, there's so much that people can access between my social media channels, my website, everything that I give to serve. But when I am working and I am, taking photographs, there's a value in that. And I'm sure Tori would say the same thing. We have an expert eye, and we know how to use the tools that we have that other people can't use. And then the ability to create something and our time too. And I'd say that's the biggest frustration I've ever had, is that it's just that respect for the value that I'm providing.
And that's really important. Yeah. Cause time is our greatest asset. So how about you, Tori? What is a situation or challenge one of your memorable stories?
I mean, I think for me, it's just, spending all the time and getting people acclimated to what they need to do. Even like what you were saying, Jenny, when, you're telling people you need to do this and you're trying to get them confident enough and motivated enough to do it, but then they still kind of don't do it. And it's like, you just need to take the leap, and it doesn't really matter what objection you might have in your head. The way that you're able to present yourself on camera, I mean, you're out there in the real world, right? And people are buying from you, they're listening to you, they're watching you. And so putting that to video, I know can be a very scary feat for people, but it's just kind of like, you have to just do it, and it gets easier the more you do it.
Mm-hmm. It does. And I think, again, and I'm not sure about guys because I'm not in their head, but I know for women, a lot of times we're so hard on ourselves about how we look, like in a picture, I'm like, oh gosh, I've got so many wrinkles around my eyes, and, or, I don't like my hair looks, whatever. I mean, we're so judgy about ourselves. And I think it's sad that I don't know if that's society has ingrained that in us or whatever, but I think that's probably the biggest hurdle people have to get over, is seeing themselves on camera. Because first of all, I think, let's see, my hair goes, I'm a mirror image in this from what I see. So like when I look in the mirror, I think my part is here and my hair goes to the left, but in this video, this is how you guys see me, it actually goes to the right. And so that was really weird the first time that I saw that. And I think when I do Facebook, things are reversed. It was like a reverse image. So I did a whole backdrop sign and I put it up there, and it was backwards. So I'm like, oh man. So I had to order another one that was backwards, and they produced it forwards. I go, no, I really meant to have it backwards, because when it's on camera, then it'll be forward. And so just even getting used to how we looked on video, depending if you're doing a selfie mode or if it's flipped or reversed, that was a whole, like, having to get used to seeing how do I look. So then just practicing that, I think people just have to do it. Like you said, Tori, just get it done. And I was looking for like funny stories. Like, I think it would be fun. Like early on, I didn't have video going. I remember one house I was staging by myself, and this was the day that I decided that I didn't ever want to stage by myself again, because I almost knocked myself out. I was hanging a piece of art, and it was on this big wall, and there was this chandelier behind me. It was in the dining room, and this picture, I lost my grip on it. I think I was like, I don't even like a step stool. Anyhow, the thing came back on me, and I hit me backwards. I hit my head on this big chandelier, and I fell to the ground. And I thought I didn't have I don't even know if I had a cell phone back then, but anyhow, it was probably 16 years ago. And I remember laying on the floor saying, why am I doing this? Wouldn't that be a funny video? Like, not that I injured myself, but that would have been funny to see, like, the person.
Oh my God.
Like that would be funny.
I can so relate to that, because I use a footstool to shoot, and you were talking about angles. So when I'm shooting people, there's always angles involved. And I was doing a shoot outside, a headshot session at a park, and my step stool was a little uneven, and I literally just toppled right over it, landed flat on my face. Yeah. So I can totally relate to that. And you think, what on earth? And it's so embarrassing at the moment, but what are you going to do? You just have to laugh it off.
Right. And I think having, and then finding humor in situations was not always scripted. So if something funny does happen, that's in what I sat next to this marketing person for this company that does all this high-end real estate marketing. This was years ago on a plane. But one of the things he said to me resonated. He said, video in general, you want to have some that's professionally produced, of course, but he said that even like on YouTube and these different things, it's the unprofessional, the amateur is not versus unprofessional, the amateur video where it's just footage. That's what people relate to more. So they don't want to see you looking all polished and pulled together and stuff. It's the real life things because we can all relate to it. And so, but it's also with both of your fields, we're targeting, we have some content that helps to educate our colleagues, to share with our colleagues, like, this is what I'm doing. But there has to be content that's client directed. So, you have different things that you would show to a colleague, like my warehouse we just built out. I have tons of video footage. I'm putting a thing together. That's educational for colleagues. And then for clients, I can show snapshots of our transformation, but I don't want to show, they're not going to be interested in all the entire build out necessarily and how it all came together. Maybe do a much shorter version for them. But I think you have two target audiences, at least I think I do in my mind. So
I do. I mean, I have home sellers. So I try and show them how-tos and DIYs and talk about funny stories, just like when you're doing videos. And like, people will stay to the end if you put like some bloopers on the back end of it. So that's something to think about if you want somebody to watch your videos all the time. Or like when you're doing a DIY on video too, like if you didn't kind of plan it out, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Like I was cutting my shower. Actually, I wasn't cutting my shower curtain the other day, but I was hemming it up with hem tape. And no matter what I did, once I started hanging it, it was not laying straight. So I ended up cutting the whole thing and just like frilling it at the end. But it was unexpected. You can't really redo it because you are doing it live. Yeah. But I forget the original question what you were talking about. But
Tori, I actually did your thing when I got married. My wedding dress was too long, and so I was by myself. My parents I got married, my sister got married, and another sister moved away. So my mom and another sister went to college. So it was like all of a sudden my parents were these empty nesters. And so my mom and dad took off for Tahoe for a month, and they said, feed the cats. And so I'm like, okay. So I had my dress, and it was too long. So I remember standing in my dress. This was so stupid. I stood in my dress and I snipped. I took the lace off the hem and then I snipped it to shorten it, and it wasn't even. So my dress, there was like the lace was sewn back on. I put it back on, but by the hair of the thread, barely. I mean, that was just, I'm thinking like that could have been a total disaster. So I just think things like that happen live in the moment where, people fall, or, I mean, that's not necessarily funny if they injure themselves, but just real life situations or weird clients that you deal with. We've all had, experiences.
Yes.
And I think those are important to share too, because, I think somebody thinks it's a new, I've said this I think from the conference last year from stage, it was, people tend to put out, obviously you want to have nice looking things out for your photos and your video, branding your company and so forth. So people don't put the not so pretty stuff out there. And so somebody coming in new, it's like, oh gosh, they're so perfect. They're, we don't necessarily talk about the challenges we have in our business. You talk about, oh, I staged this house, look how great it is. It was sold in 2 days. The client loved me. We don't put out we don't advertise the text messages like, your team tracked in mud into my floor and now I had to have the house cleaned again, or you guys scratched the wall, or whatever it is. We don't put those out there, but that's the reality of what we deal with. And I feel like there should be a place where there are the ugly side of staging, if you will, or the reality side that's not just always the beautiful part, because otherwise I feel like people get in and they experience challenges. They think I'm the only one experiencing this because I don't see it anywhere being shared. And so whether it's video or photography or even just conversation on online, I think that's also important. You're not to stay, it's always like, you share the challenge and then the solution. So I'm like, don't just wallow in the pity party, but what was the solution? How did you get past this? I think that would be really, I see another Facebook group coming on possibly.
Well, I think, Jenny, you're touching on something really valuable too, because people want to know who we are authentically. They don't want to see us polished all the time. They want to see us in the raw, because that's how they're going to connect with us. I mean, if somebody is in the throes of selling their home, chances are they're a mess every day too, because they're having to dig through everything and sort through everything, and they're stressed and overwhelmed. So to see somebody come into their life that's completely polished can sometimes be intimidating, and they may not connect with you. So just the important thing is to just be yourself. And then as far as, like you were saying, show the ugly side too. And, there's a great opportunity to showcase customer service with videos like that, or even, take a picture of the mud that was tracked in and say, oh my gosh, this happened because of course it had to rain today and we were staging and we brought mud in. So now what? Now we have to clean it. But that's just part of our service. If we do something that is not perfect, we're going to make sure that it turns into being perfect. So there's so many opportunities for messaging. So that's a great point that people can take away from that.
Yeah, like a learning experience. So we are at our 1 hour mark. So just as a wrap up, why should people watch your session at the conference? What's the big compelling reason, Tori?
I think for me that home stagers really, they go out there and they love creating and they think about the business second a lot of times. And that's great when you are busy and you're out there creating, but how are you going to consistently stay busy and be able to market and do all these things? So in my session, we're going to be talking about how to automate kind of your customer journey. What is that relationship going to be with your customer from them just meeting you online to all the way making the sale? And I'm going to kind of show you how I did it with video in my business. And we're going to be mapping out your own journey so you can do it for yours.
Awesome. How about you, Robyn?
The reality is that you cannot market a business if you have not branded your business. So I am going to teach you what you need to do to have a great personal brand that's going to connect with your ideal audience and then convert that ideal audience to clients.
Awesome. So two great powerhouse sessions by two powerhouse women. And I really thank you both for being part of our conference. And God willing, we'll have a live one next year, and the big reveal for where we're going to be will be at the end on Thursday. We'll have a big segment that will show where we're going to be in 2021, so that'll be exciting. So thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll be back next week. Actually, we'll be back next week. Next week is our conference, so well, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll be back in 2 weeks with our next guest. And so again, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great rest of your week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.